I think I want to start off with the freshly stacked. This wondering if I should stack the deck or if I should... This one feels like it's already stacked the way that it should be. This one, I just confirmed. I guess that's okay as well. So let me see here. Yeah. I want to use this deck. Okay. Dear Holy Spirit, please produce a spread for the first house. In 3 positions. 3 position spread for the first house. Huh. Yep. Well. Please clarify those 3 positions. So for the first house, I'm picking up everything seems to be moving pretty good. This reading from me, it suggests that everything that you need is within reach. Things are progressively getting better, more reciprocal, more balanced. Justice is on your side. Love is in your element. It's in your atmosphere. Love is in the air. I was laughing because I was hearing that song by MC Hammer, Can't Touch This. Dun, 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 can't touch this. Dun, 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 dun. I usually get good readings for Aries anyways. My reading for Aries is pretty straightforward. Everything seems to usually be pretty good. I rarely see anything unusual in Aries house, in the first house. And it's pretty exciting that when I do see activity in the first house, I can usually go to the astrology and look at the astrological positions and see stuff happening in the houses. It's like, whoa, what's going on? Yeah. Alright, but anyhow, I just wanted to look at the everything looks pretty good in Aries' house. New love is in the air. I mean, it almost looks like maybe for Aries that there may have been like a previous lover or something in your past that maybe you considered gravitating to, working with, or I don't know. It just seemed like it was out of reach. It was too exhausting. You're kind of going out of your way, overextending yourself, and then you just find love where you are, where you, yeah, it's reciprocal, it's balanced, it's harmonized. It wants you, you want it type energy. So, let me see what else. Oh yeah, but I was gonna look and do a Celtic cross. So since I have this, yeah, let me see here. Let's do a Celtic cross here. That's crazy. And then that song, Love is on the Brain, just came to my mind. And you got me like, oh, 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 what you want from me. And I tried to buy a pretty heart, but the price is too high. Baby, you got me like, oh, 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 oh. There could be a disappointing lover that really wanted to commit with you. Really wanted to commit to you that got left. But let's see. Yeah. And it hurts a lot because it almost feels like for some storylines, ooh, my disclaimers. This is not going to resonate with everybody. If it doesn't resonate, please don't force it to fit. I'll be back to do another as soon as possible. General readings aren't intended to resonate with everyone, and the energy could be mutual. Like if I mention Aries, it could be Aries cross watcher or something subjective in the energy. But yeah, looks like there could have been some love interest that wanted to have a serious connection with Aries, and what hurts is what's gonna hurt for those love interests is to find Aries settled and committed and flowing with a lover and committing to a lover. And it's not them, but they just couldn't really understand Aries' love language. That's what it looks like. And the one that they find themselves with was just flowing with them, and there was like it was just, and it almost seemed like it kind of took Aries by surprise too. Like, hey, this is flowing. This is attentive to me. This love interest wants me. This love interest is here for me, and it just fits. It just fitted. It just fitted. So it looks like there's a transformation, like a metamorphosis energy type thing happening here, because it almost looks like too that the love interest wasn't like, it wasn't the first, I don't want to say like first choice, or, oh, matter of fact, You know, it reminds me of a love oracle card that comes up sometimes. It says something like, um, your lover is different than what you'd expect. Like, keep an open mind type energy. Mm-hmm. Can't think off top which card that is, but it's anyhow, let me look here. Oh, see, wedding. The situation involves marriage, engagement. Your love life is ascending to a higher level of commitment. Okay, I just wanted to look at that and see a confirmation or a redirection. But yeah. So that's dope. Especially because Aries governs the first house, and the first house deals with aspects of the self and first impressions, how one views oneself. So, like, one way to translate that into a first house type of reading is, you know, like if the Corinth was kind of having a hard time finding their niche, finding where they fit in, um, or there was some aspect of themselves that they were kind of having some growing pains. They finally find themselves, like like the dust finally starts to settle, and they begin to realize that, yeah, they begin to find their niche. They begin to realize that everything that they need is within them, type energy. But hey, that's what I got for the first house. So I'm gonna take a moment to get the cards prepared to go into the second house, aka Taurus's house. Two. Let me see. Great is your mercy towards me. Your loving kindness towards me. Great is your mercy towards me. Day after day, forever faithful towards me. You're always providing for me. Great is your mercies I see. Day after day, is your mercy. Okay, so this one is interesting. All right, so this is actually gonna be our second house. With cusp energy, so uh, Taurus Geminis and Aries Taurus cusps. But this reading is talking about, to me, it's talking about timing, when to launch out. There's something brewing just beneath the surface for Taurus. So this is a general reading. General readings are not intended to resonate with everyone. If there's any doubt, please don't force it. I'll be back to do another reading because, yeah, it's not supposed to be everybody's story. And when I mention Taurus, it could be some cross watcher in Taurus's energy being referred to, or something else subjective in the energy. But yeah, so this is, for me, this is talking about launching out, like timing is at work here, when to actually pounce, launch out, and move on a particular plan. Like at the moment, I just see Taurus chilling, supported by major arcanas, which are universal culminative energy. Taurus is just chilling. Yes. Woo. Love is in the air around Taurus. It looks like your environment is, to me, it looks beautiful. Yeah. Oh my gosh. It feels like everything is settling into place for me, what I'm looking at here, energetically. Everything's settling into place. There's things, like I said, brewing beneath the surface. So, like, that could be, I'm saying, for an example, some investments, some investment ideas. Like, it kind of looks like, looking at the second house, if I was to look at it in a market type way, uh, like, expect, like, investments are settling to a place where speculative assumptions would expect it to, like, go up. But for now, prices are kind of settling where they are, and the expectation is for it to go up. However, I don't have indication that, if I was to look at this in a speculative manner, I don't have the data to say it's going to spike up or it's going to spike down. So I feel like this energy here is saying things are not yet ready to launch and make a particular move, but just settling in a manner so that those moves can be made when it's time to be made. When it's time, and I'm seeing energies here conducive for divine timing is at work. But in the meantime, it looks like things are pretty harmonious and pretty balanced. Um, Transitioning from, like, second house, well, I could even stay in second house, but looking at this from a second house perspective, which governs, like, value systems and markets and that. But moving over to, like, Taurus and the aspect of love, and Taurus in the aspect of just vibing on a day-to-day living, enjoying the pleasures. It looks like it's, yeah, like Taurus is doing good, enjoying the fruit of their labor, just kind of chilling, business as usual, routines and whatnot are going forward. Love is in the air. It looks like for a while, love will be in the air. Um, it looks like for love interests, Tauruses may have found themselves with love interests that are meeting them on their levels, like a love interest that matches their energy. But if, like I said, it's not a person or a love interest, it could just be Taurus surrounded by their goals, their gifts, their crafts, their projects, and even just enjoying the fruit of their labor. Just that's what I'm seeing. So I see pretty good energy. And as far as like I said, I don't have indication of when things start to bloom, if it's going to launch forward and upward with upward momentum, or if it might go down. I don't have that indication, but everything looks like it's conducive for an upward momentum. That's what it looks like. Now, I was gonna say, I would like to leave it there because I was gonna clarify, but because this is a general reading and general readings aren't intended to resonate with everybody anyway, this is very neutral, very peaceful. I'll leave it like that. Looks like a good time to also study and or learn something new. Study, perfect one's craft type energy. That's what it looks like to me. This is like the reason why I like to do these readings even when I don't feel like it. I like to just kind of check out energies in the houses routinely, because whenever I don't look, it seems like that's when I miss something. I should have stayed looking. I want to do another spread for the second house, just to see and another spread what things look like. Goodness. Well, let's see. Dear Holy Spirit, please give me 3 positions to look at for the second house for Taurus. I feel like that. Let me see what this is. I feel like that's a confirmation. That's what I wanted, was a confirmation. This is the Temperance. This is the Star. This right here is the Queen of Fire. The Wheel of Fortune. So, yeah, I was just looking to look and see if there was anything that would change the interpretation that I got, redirect me, or reiterate or expound upon it. So I would have to say, hey everybody. I would have to say, and thank you for supporting the video and on the channel. So I feel like this is a confirmation because this is the Temperance and the Star card is on the top of the deck, and the Hierophant, which is Taurus's card, came in a neutral orientation. So for me, that just reiterates everything that I said about everything is just like really flowing. It's the dust is settling. Taurus just looks like they're in a really good place. So Taurus, if you don't feel like that, I feel like once you start looking around, you may that might resonate. That hey, man, I've been working hard because I know like Taurus like to work hard, and Tauruses they play hard too. And so I wouldn't suggest like playing hard. I guess the highlighted area of concerns is like don't like go all out, of course, because things seem to be settling and just brewing under the surface where it could go either way. This card landing in a neutral orientation confirms to me that it could go any way. Even the Wheel of Fortune being at the, you know, making an appearance here too. It could go either way, but at the moment, everything is set up where things should take uh, an upward momentum. Now, like as far as the market is concerned, you know what I'm saying? Like now, there is ways for investors to capitalize on the market, even if the market should drop. So there's, you know what I'm saying? So those who know how to make money even if the market would go down. And of course, if the market should go up, which is what it looks like, then a lot more people know how to capitalize on the market going up. But being prepared to move in any direction regardless is what's most important. And so that's why I would say this area of concern would say, yes, enjoy the fruit of your labor. You've earned it. Um, you know, keep an eye on your investments. It looks like they should go up. Just keep an eye should they go down. Have contingency plans in place for both scenarios if they should work out, if they should, you know what I'm saying, come to pass. And then, but yeah, as far as love is concerned, the Queen, oh, and that Queen of Fire too, making an appearance for me was the confirmation about that fire energy. Just, it was stating it's not time to launch out and start doing a bunch of stuff, but just waiting for the perfect moment to move, which Taurus being represented by the bull, that's the nature of the bull. Bulls don't really move until they're inspired to, until something moves them and passions them to move, to launch out. Then once they do, it's like watch out because it could be the bull in the China factory. But when they set their eyes on the prize, then they're pretty much set to be successful because they spend the time doing the work, um, utilizing true and tried methods, etc., etc. So that's what I was getting for the second house. And dun, 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 dun. The Seven of Swords had made an appearance while I was shuffling, so I was wondering if the Seven of Swords might appear again in my spread, but it didn't. So the Seven of Swords to me has been making some appearances lately as well to indicate um, like testing, scientific models, for an example, studying, research, uh, analyzing, analytics type energy. But that's what I see for the second house. So let's see now the third house. That's Gemini's house. That'll be the next house we move to. Jeez. The songs that are coming into my head. But it's kind of been songs that have been replaying in my mind anyways. Like, it was a couple of them. But like Jill Scott. Is it the way? Is it the way you love me? And Honey Molasses. Five of Cups, Temperance, Queen of Cups. The third house governs communication, information, learning, in a studious, like apprentice type of a way. I'm trying to see, should I use this deck or this one? This one feels, I think it's this one. Honey, moonlight, dun, 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 dun. Okay, so like this part is a confirmation that the previous reading, Taurus, Gemini cusps, there's Taurus, Gemini cusp energy in this, because I also see Gemini in a state, and Gemini or the third house. So it reminds me of my disclaimer. This is a general reading. General readings are not intended to resonate with everyone. If it doesn't fit, please don't force it. I'll be back to do another as soon as possible, and the energy is mutual. So when I mention Gemini, it could be someone in Gemini's energy or something else subjective in the energy as well. But so like Gemini is holding back as far as just not overextending themselves, not not overextending themselves, especially not at their own expense. And also Geminis are coming in having everything that they need within reach. In the previous chapter, like in the recent past, they had been experiencing a lot of activity, a lot of passionate movement, and so they're starting to settle into a more peaceful, calm, and rest type of energy. Also, Geminis have found themselves, whoever this part resonates with, but in a love dynamic, surrounded by love and romance and courtship and dating is in the atmosphere, it's in the air for Geminis. So not overextending themselves, especially not at their own expense. And this message seems also to be especially for those who are bachelors and or bachelorettes. It does look like there could be a particular love interest that has caught their attention. And so similar to the second house reading, it's also suggesting here in the third house that things are being like under review. Like Gemini may have a couple of love interests, and then going to the second house aspect, which deals with values, value system, evaluating these love interests, evaluating certain passions and or investments, in whatever endeavors that they're multitasking with and or considering, and evaluating these in a strategic way, going back to third house energy, which is like deals with logic and information technology, to prioritize, to put into applicable categories, in an organized way, just putting everything into its proper perspective. So communication could be kind of short, not offering up too much, just enough. It looks like information is under review anyway, so what is there really to say yet? So it's like not yet. So yeah, these cards, this is the Knight of Fire and the Emperor. Let's see. Then I have my Apprentice and the 16 Major Arcana, which is also the Tower. So, yeah. So like, this reminds me to look at the astrology, look at the current positions of the planet, planetary positions. Try not to get too carried away. Try, but because I have a tendency to do that, so I always kind of. But yeah, see, Mars is in Gemini right now, so not surprising. Mars is in Gemini right now. Also Uranus. So last I checked, which was the 15th of July, Mars was just at 11 degrees, and so that's just moving past, like 1 degree past the first decan in Gemini, and then 4 degrees Uranus in Gemini. That's still the first decan. So just recently getting into that house, the third house. So yeah. Oh, no wonder. You see how this, wow, you see how these cards are looking here. You see how the Corinth in this illustration is just looking. At the Tower, you know, so analytics are taking place in Uranus. That's the planet of reformations, even rebellion, and kind of changing up the status quo. So yeah, a lot of movement. Like I said, I was looking at a lot of movement, a lot of passion, a lot of intense activity happening in the recent past. So Gemini and the energy of the third house is looking. So you have the Apprentice, the Hermit, the Temperance, and the Sun, and the Tower. So you guys seen how intensely the deck was shuffled? Maybe not this one so much, but so seeing all these major arcanas is not a coincidence. Matter of fact, all of these are major arcanas. So, the major arcanas are energies that are above our heads. It's the culmination of activities that were made in our free will during a period of time within a cipher, a chapter. Then the culmination of those free will choices start to exhibit themselves in the major arcana. That's the way that I understand it when reading the tarot for the messages. Dear Holy Spirit, please continue. I feel like, again, confirmation. So looking at the Ten of Pentacles here, and so these card combinations is the Ace of Swords and the Seven of Fire. So for me, that's the Corinth standing on their square at a position of leverage. The Ace of Swords represent the clarity. So when the analytics come to fruition, this is the Seven of Pentacles and the King of Pentacles. So I see the confirmations, and you've seen how the spread developed, which is like why I like to show the cards so you guys can see the development in progress. So first we have the Seven of Pentacles here, where you can see the Corinth in this illustration is looking at the Pentacle tree. This is where I described it as analyzing and determining what it is, what's going to come about it, what is worth investing in, how to prioritize, how to nurture this, or is it worth cutting losses, etc. So when that determination is made, then you have the King of Pentacles ready to move. This is the third house, so ready to move on such data and information as it comes about. So this card coming out to continue producing the spread here was confirming what I said. Then having the Ten of Pentacles in the eighth position, which represent external energy coming toward the current in the near future, to be met with the card combination of the Seven of Wands and the Ace of Swords, confirms to me that once that information is had for Gemini, then they'll be able to move accordingly. And that's interesting too, going back to how I said I was feeling cusp energy from the second house, the house that governs value systems and the market and money, income, personal value systems, whereas like the eighth house might deal with, not might deal with, eighth house more deals with external value systems, shared resources, and where's the other house that deals with such, etc. See, I go out on a tangent too much. Bring it back. Third house deals with information, logic, technology even. So, oh my god, I took us on that trip though, because the difference between a gamble and an investment is doing the research and, being able to make educated speculations and moving according, versus just taking a gamble, taking a risk off cuff. That's more of a gamble. This is describing more of an investment type of an approach, analyzing and making strategic moves accordingly. So we have the Ten of Pentacles, and then the Hermit is in the ninth position, which represent internal energy coming toward the current in the near future. Confirms the withdrawn type energy, not really expressing too much externally, but a lot is happening more so internally, and healing and taking the time to have the internal revelations, guiding light, inspiration, confirmations, and just being withdrawn to do that, and within, while having major arcanas being expressed here with the Temperance, again withdrawn, patiently alchemizing all of this energy, all of the intense energy that we've seen, especially in the Tower, in the Mars, in the Uranus, these revolutionary, transformative energies that are taking place. But then we have the Ace of Cups here, and the Page of Swords, and the forward movement in the Chariot. That the Eureka moment is happening, the epiphanies, the realizations, everything will be coming to pass. So looking at this reading like in a third house context, and I was going to mention the 11th house for the world stage type energy, like as far as technology is concerned, there could be some technology transformations, changes, innovations happening. So like for investors, maybe looking in the, not just I would be interested to do some research in that tech field and kind of see what is coming up. The first thing that comes to mind is like how politically, like we have, our countries, what are they devising as far as being able to network with each other? Like there's been some recent political changes as far as like them levying stipends or whatever they call it on one country, like, just changing who does business, with who and how they're doing business, and then looking into what which country, what is their main export and import of their goods. If that makes any sense, like basically going a little bit too far out, but like, you know, um, okay, not to name any particular country, but like a country that has like a monopoly, for an example, on certain tech that many other countries rely on. So they're the main exporters of certain type of tech. Anyways, that type of stuff I would say looks like is going through a revamp, going through some innovation, some changes, some modifications. I wonder what type of new technology is about to emerge. And even more interesting is the new technology, the new advancement in science and whatnot that is emerging, but then what will they share with the general public? What will they let us know? Dang, that's like fascinating to me. I'm pretty sure they're coming up with something, but what will they share with the general public? What will they let us know? And then there will be those who are on a need to know basis, which even in this energy talks about, you know, even in the Hermit, like there's something brewing just beneath the surface for sure, but not really being spoken about at the moment because it's not time. And also because all of the information, the the end result, the summary hasn't yet been established yet. So anyhow, that type of energy is what I'm picking up in the third house, and I'm going to now prepare to move into the fourth house, aka it's Cancer's house for the Cancerian. Let's take a look. Let's see. Okay, let's see. Alright, there's that one. Let's see. It feels like I should use this deck right here. For sure. Hmm. Yeah. Hmm. Okay, so for some cusp energy for the fourth house, that would be some Gemini Cancers and also some Cancer Leo cusp. Cancer Leo cusps. But no. Like this one right here is sheesh. It feels like there's a deadline. It feels like there is a time construct that our current is working with. So that reminds me of my disclaimer. This is a general reading. General readings are not intended to resonate with everyone. So if there's any dissonance, please don't force anything to fit. I'll be back to do another as soon as possible. And when I mentioned Cancer, it could be someone in Cancer's energy or something subjective. Could be something subjective in Cancer's energy. But so yeah, this looks like a Cancer. Our Cancerians are in some sort of time construct. The fourth house also governs concerns that deal with housing, that deal with family, that deal with origin stories and roots, ROOTS, of a person's psyche and their being. You know, so the fourth house represents like the nucleus, the home, the family type of energy. Most pronounced is the home. So like time construct, deadlines, And it almost looks like they kind of, like in some cases, this looks like a deadline already kind of passed. So some sort of milestone that could have been a plan may not have gone as intended or hoped that it would go. But I'm carefully selecting those words because I don't see that it was a failure. Again, it looks like I mentioned earlier that there was an outcome, and the outcome may not have been the initial desirable outcome, but it's like a blessing in disguise. Like what you were looking for was not actually what you needed, or it was not the true answer for the moment. Your answer looked different than what you were expecting, and your answer was dot dot dot. But that's why I was careful with my words, because it looks like there's some sadness and some regret, and a new beginning and a new chapter had been established. So let's see here. And Two of Pentacles, Page of Swords. So there's kind of uncertainty. It looks like the uncertainty is due to, the disappointment of how this new chapter is beginning. King of Pentacles and the Eight of Pentacles. But the King of Pentacles and the Eight of Pentacles card combination suggests that everything is actually going very well. It is like, so if there was a rerouting, that reroute was necessary to actually put you in the position, point you in a direction that is most conducive for your overall well-being. Having the King of Pentacles and the Eight of Pentacles is like very superior energy for me, describing someone that is very capable, very knowledgeable, very astute in a certain endeavor, being placed right in the center of whatever that project, that initiative is. The environment is very conducive for what you're crafted, what you're skilled, what you're born to do type energy, and it seemed like it could be dormant type of a skill, or a dormant type of a gift, of a capacity, something you might not have tapped into in its fullest, to its fullest capacity and to its extent. Like it even could be something that you just really never gave that much serious attention to, because it was the other thing that you were giving your attention to. That door closed while you were progressively like trying to move in that direction. But as far as the disclaimer that says this is a reading that's not intended to resonate with everyone, don't force it to fit, because whoever this message resonates with, you should probably have seen signs of whatever endeavor you were pursuing. Doors were closing, things were not really flowing in that direction. And it comes with disappointment when the chapter closed. So, now that describes like one chapter closing as far as this whole deadline is concerned, because it almost looks like there was a deadline, and that window dot 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 because I don't have the information to see that it actually closed, but there's some regret that it looks like it, that you'll hear, yeah, it closed with some regret. So anyhow, we have the Justice and the past energy. So that major arcana representing the scales, representing balance, harmony, and also a ruling that was made. I want to say a ruling was made in your favor. That's what that means. A ruling was made in your favor. A ruling was made in your favor. Now, technically, reversals would add the additional information to confirm, or to expound upon it was in your favor or not, if it was in your favor or not. This being a general reading, and the mutual energies could go either way. It says a ruling was made in your favor, and all the cards are conducive to a ruling being made in your favor. And my sixth position, which represent energy coming toward the current in the near future, having the Six of Swords and the Six of Cups even confirms that in the previous chapter a ruling was made in your favor. Interesting too is that the Six of Swords and the Six of Cups talking about moving from a toxic situation into a better situation, and it has to deal with, for me, the way I interpret it is a karmic pattern. There was a karmic pattern. Now, if you follow me this far, as to what I'm trying to describe. Now, as far as if this ruling was made in your favor or not, it seems to suggest it would be like a subjective perspective. For an example, if this karmic pattern continued to, it wasn't broken, so it just continues to cipher. The karmic pattern continues to move as is, as was. So that would deal with something familiar, something from your past, some nostalgic, like tapping into something from the past. It has nostalgic, familiar. It's a karmic pattern, could be a karmic partner. So that continues to commence and cipher. Then, perspective with everything, that would be a subjective determination. If, the ruling was not made in your favor, that would be a subjective opinion. And for an example, it says that a karmic pattern was broken. So at first, sometimes a toxic pattern, especially for those of us who are not aware of such things, of such nuances in our life anyway, that's uncomfortable. That change, a change of something familiar, breaking, coming to a halt, shutting a door on us could be a traumatic experience, and not easy to cope with, especially without the understanding that, for example, a toxic pattern was broken, a generational curse, so to speak, was broken. That is a ruling made in your favor, but sometimes in the nuance of everything, it could be hard to interpret it that way. So we have the Page of Swords and the Two of Pentacles. That card combination for me says in context the Two of Pentacles, wavering between one and the other, wavering between one dynamic, tapping into another dynamic, and unsure which dynamic is going to be the one to eventually get the current's full attention, because the juggling can only persist for so long. So it being accompanied with the Page of Swords suggests that eventually this too will come to be highlighted, and when everything is consolidated and with this understanding and acceptance and epiphanies, that eureka moment, okay, wow, I'm really finding myself in my element, and this is way better than what I was trying to force in the past. So that's what is being described for me in the atmosphere type, the atmosphere part of this reading. So moving out of a toxic situation into a better situation, into something familiar. And then the way that I took my time to explain that, if you still follow me, can you see how still that is a ruling made in your favor and tapping into familiar, a familiar karmic pattern? Like some aspect of the pattern was broken. It was the toxic, it was the weak aspect of the pattern. It was, what some of us coin a generational curse. I like to call it just breaking a toxic karmic pattern. So continuing on here, we have the Ace of Fire and the Star. So that confirms again a wish fulfillment and a new start in that capacity. And then in the ninth placement, there's the Judgment and the Eight of Swords. And then just to forward to the end, to the 10th placement, here's the Queen of Pentacles and the Three of Pentacles. So again, seeing the King of Pentacles with the Eight of Pentacles is very high caliber, conducive energy for optimizing a situation to its highest capacity. Like, and same with the Queen of Pentacles. Working with the Three of Pentacles is a very abundant manifestation energy in that card combination. So that being the outcome is positive. Moving here again now back to the 9th position, which represent internal energy coming toward the Corinth in the near future. We'll see the Six of Swords and the Six of Cups. We spent time talking about this dynamic that moves the Corinth out of a toxic situation into a better situation. Then the Judgment with the Eight of Swords. Now, if you followed me to understand what I was trying to articulate throughout this reading, the Eight of Swords and the Judgment for me is talking about, I feel familiarity. I feel like the Corinth has tapped into a familiar karmic pattern where there was unfinished business and a ruling was made. So there's like reconciliation, for an example, and that's really a positive thing, especially in the aspect of like a market that deals with value systems, investments, for an example. And the fourth house deals with housing, so it could be like real estate type of investment, for an example, just to give context there. So reconciliation of that type of energy would be like being able to reconcile, being able to mitigate some investment or housing initiative, like a reconsideration of like application, for an example. If there were some housing applications that went out and maybe waiting for a response, that would suggest for example, if there was a housing situation that the Corinth wanted but didn't go through, this would say that the energy is conducive for something like that to be on the market. Go out and look for it. Don't give up. But anyhow, I'm slow at coming up with examples because of my long-windedness. I could go on, but it would take a long time. What am I seeing overall? To summarize that part of the reading, it looks like a previous chapter closed for Cancer, and a new chapter is opening up in a new direction. This new chapter is more conducive overall for Cancer's best interest, and they will find themselves in their niche. They will find themselves surrounded in an environment very conducive and accepting and fertile for expansion and growth and abundance, even more than what they were pursuing in the past. Also, like second chance type energy is being stated. This is a very dynamic reading. I would want to take some time. Also, there was a highlighted area of emphasis to the Corinth, saying the previous chapter that closed has brought about a sense of sadness and some regret, maybe even some depression, reminiscing and mourning over the hopes and the dreams of that previous chapter. So it kind of brings about, I don't want to say, it could be stagnation or delay in being able to really appreciate and to see that this new chapter that you're in is actually way better, and what's in store to come towards you in the near future is even more amazing. Um, and familiar. It's almost like something that you may have forgot about, something that you used to pursue in the past. And you might have forgot about it. You might have put it on a back burner to pursue something else. It's almost like you pursued this something else, almost because of a fear of success, or at that time, what you initially was pursuing was out of sync as far as divine timing was concerned. So you put that on the back burner and started pursuing something else, and almost forgot that while you were pursuing something else, what you initially had on the back burner is what you ultimately wanted. And that second chance is basically redirecting you back to where you were originally, letting you know that the time is now conducive for you to tap in to your original plans. Okay? I don't know if I was able to communicate, express, interpret what I was, translate what I'm seeing here, but that's my best shot. All right, so now I'm gonna get ready to move into the 5th house, which is Leo's house. Oh man, I laughed to myself because the word that I heard just now was like, whose house? Leo's house. I think I often hear that when I'm getting into the 5th house. Whose house? Leo's house. Mm-hmm. Man, this delay, because, sheesh. Working to make sure there's resonance in my deck. Resonance. Dear Holy Spirit, please put resonance in the deck for the 5th house. AKA Leo's house. But I continue to kind of see basically the same energy. I'm trying to like shuffle through it. Like, is that a coincidence? Or is that the energy in the 5th house? Looks like there's sad energy, like, gosh, 5 of Cup energy, some sadness. So I'm like, oh, yeah, I was trying to shuffle through that and just see, like, is that the... So anyway, looks like a spread developed though. So we'll look at it. Man. But, sheesh. Okay, definitely. Oh, yeah. Seeing some cusp energy there. 5th house, 6th house, 4th house, 5th house. So like Cancer, Leo cusp, and also Leo Virgo cusp. But this is Leo's reading the 5th house. So something about communication. Eesh. Some communication has brought about some sadness, some toxicity, and I don't even know if it brought. Matter of fact, no, it didn't bring. That communication didn't necessarily bring on. So it looks like there was some misgivings in a connection. Now this, oh yeah, the disclaimers. This is a general reading. It's not intended to resonate with everyone. If there's any dissonance, if something is not resonating, please don't force it. I'll be back to do another as soon as possible. And if I should, when I mention Leo, it could be someone in Leo's energy. It could be something subjective in Leo's energy, because the energy is mutual. It could go either way. This suggests that in Leo's relationship, there is some nefarious activity that took place, some distrust, something that infused some distrust in the connection. And it looks like, though, it had some tit for tat type energy in it as well. It looks like some overdue justice type energy. Long overdue. The revelation of it, the way that it's sitting with Leo is causing like nightmare of the soul type energy, like ego death. I've been hearing a lot lately. It talks about an ego death, just riveting realizations and epiphanies and introspections and being able to see oneself in certain scenarios that perspective had not been realized before, had not been looked at in this way before. And it's disheartening. And there's communication that's going out, that's going in and out. Looks like, I was like, is it one directional communication? It's fast communication, and it just seems to be like tearing someone apart. Um, Alright. But that's what kept on peering through while I'm shuffling. I could not avoid it. Dang. Oh, is that the reading for us? It's like I can't even. Man. um. Alright, so since that's happening, oh my goodness, hold on. 5 of coins, hermit, page of swords, 9 of cups, emperor, 3 of cups, strength, page of fire, 10 of coins, star, 9 of pentacles, 7 of fire, 7 of cups, 7 of swords. Yeah, so it's confirming that there was a lot of activity happened in the recent past. There was a commitment, and you know, so as far as this commitment, especially in these modern days, this modern time, there's like there's an energetic commitment that happens. There's the official commitment that happens when, you know, the couples involved have claimed each other. They've gone to the courthouse, for an example. They've made it official in some sort of way. There's a mutual understanding. So there's all type of different commitments um, in these modern times, especially that come through energetically in a reading like this. So, like, what kind of commitment was this? It, but you see, here's the Hierophant, which is the marriage card. That's the commitment card. And there's the Queen of Fire and the Sun. So it almost seems like this is a known commitment. So something is established about this commitment. And there's lovers here. There's 6 of fire. Okay, so, and there's a lover here, right? So that's what I'm like, there's a commitment being established here for sure, um, as described. It seems very sure right here for this person. Energetically, they're in this commitment. Okay, now this part of this segment of this spread that developed here, it's showing that now the other person in the connection, right? Because I'm seeing different energy, totally different energy, has 1 foot in and 1 foot out. Okay, and they're at their breaking point. Okay, and there's a passion brewing, you know, beneath this breaking point. All right, something is definitely in their on their mind, so intense. And then you have the High Priestess here, and then there's the Moon, and there's the King of Fire, 10 of Cups, 3 of Swords. Okay, so that substantiated the heartbreak, right? And the heart in the so that's why I do like to show my cards so that you can see the process of how when these cards were all stacked, right? And all I had to go off of was the top. And I looked at the bottom, I seen, oh, there's something nefarious that took place here in the connection. Even before getting to the 7 of Swords, the 3 of Swords. So So someone is locked into this connection and they're just, thinking that this is their love. They're locked in. The other energy is showing, the other person in this connection is showing they have one foot in, one foot out, and they have, you know, some unsettling um, feelings here for someone else, okay? And this is happening and brewing beneath the surface in secret. Uh, and so the King of Fire, context is everything. The King of Fire, he's one that goes after his pleasures. So that was confirmation that that's what he was up to, right? In the Ten of Cups. So he's having his Ten of Cups, but it is at the expense of betraying the connection that he is in with this person of interest here. No. So that goes back into, and in my readings, I tried to be as objective as possible in the translation part of it to allow the audience to find context as it may fit. I tried to do that. It could be annoying when I do it though, because it's like this part of asking, okay, so I see that there's a hardcore connection, there's a hardcore commitment. It looks like a marriage right here. In modern days, it's really interesting how in a tarot reading, sometimes these connections that come across in this type of commitment way, energetically, but it's like for sure there's a storyline that a marriage has been violated. One, they went down to the courthouse and they made it official. The ones where there was an established consensus between the two of them, yes, we are one, yes, you are mine, I'm yours. So someone stepped out and violated that vow. Um, Now there are other connections that we established in these modern times where there's not that spoken commitment, but energetically the soul ties establish themselves as such. But there was not, for example, a verbal commitment made. And so when that happens, especially speaking of ego deaths that have been coming across in the reading, of ego death, sometimes in those unspoken verbal commitments, but energetic tie, soul tie commitments, there's sometimes unspoken expectations that cause a lot of pain when they're violated, when they're broken, when those expectations aren't met. This person has one foot in and one foot out. So you would wonder, did they establish this connection? They're moving like a bachelor, but context gives everything. So even in a tarot reading, with everything that I said, the way that modern days, have a different understanding of a traditional connection, in the way that connections were when these classical decks were designed. This is a more modern deck. But anyway, so you could say at first as a reader, does he know that he's in a connection? Or is he a bachelor and or a bachelorette? Because it's all energy specific, not gender specific. Does he know this? Now, to answer that question, there's some benefit of the doubt. So another storyline develops where it is possible that this person is truly a bachelor and does not really believe that he's in a solid commitment where he cannot explore his options. Now, the Three of Swords being here, though, you might say, that's where it seems like this Three of Swords could be interpreted as there's some tit for tat. It almost looks like there might be some tit for tat energy, which I picked up over here. It looked like there was some tit for tat energy going on. Almost like long overdue justice. Anyway, I could go on and on and on with that part. Let me see. There was another element here, the moon. This is a major arcana, right? So the major arcanas are the culmination of energy that's above our heads, but the culmination of energy collected by free will actions that were made in our karmic ciphers, our karmic chapters, the actions that we decided to make culminate into major arcana energy above our head at this point. A major arcana is describing secrets that have had been secrets that are taking place, secrets, hidden, unknowns. So there's a little benefit of the doubt potentially for the person of interest there, because it almost might look like a lesson for our our person of concern here that is really shattered and going through this ego, this transformation, and this realization of what's taking place, and this realization. So there's so much to like, I have so many questions, but it would take a lot of time to do that, and this live stream is not set up for all that time, because that's how I get my energy drained really quickly, and I don't get to get through all the houses. I was going to say, because like my question is, what type of tit for tat? You know, I don't see the tit for tat. I see energetically that someone feels justified for some sort of tit for tat, but I don't see energetically what that justification is. It just looks like somebody went and betrayed someone. But and was sneaking around, because the Seven of Swords was at the bottom of the deck. This is heavy. I would have to say, if somebody's interested in me to do more extended reading in the 5th house, please let me know. So far on the channel though, I don't have that type of feedback or audience retention, so I just wanted to touch the surface and get a general energy reading of what's happening in the 5th house. It looks like some tit for tat energy is happening in the 5th house that governs romance and romantic partner, intimacy. It also governs entertainment, like dates, and could be entertainment otherwise though, like on the world stage it may be like the entertainment industry. Also, the house where astrologers will look to get information about children, like new arrival, for an example, conception, the ego. But anyhow, so the 5th house, how to summarize what I see so far: tit for tat, ego death type energy. We'll see the highlighted area of concern. First of all, to establish within oneself is if the pain and suffering is self-inflicted. And I try not to say that with, I don't want to dismiss the importance, definitely don't want to dismiss the intensity or the pain, no less, of going through these type of lessons. I find it helpful to heal, like once for example, I can start to notice if I inflicted the pain onto myself by having expectations that weren't mutually confirmed, then there's that type of process that helps, I feel like, because I can find accountability in myself and in my own actions and my own movements, and most importantly, not try to cause this pain and project it onto someone who doesn't deserve it. And then you have those connections though where there is betrayal and there's this sneaking around, and that's a whole nother ballpark altogether. So it deals with many other moving parts. So the fifth house reading would, for me, it seems to be talking about that type of betrayal. And, betrayal, self-inflicted to a certain extent as described, which is very subjective and definitely deserves some fine-tuned unpacking. Like with surgical precision, I feel it deserves that. And then there's the betrayal that's just right out, blatant lies, manipulation, stringing someone on and being betrayed. And so there's some depression. Okay, so let's see. Now that I've kind of said that, tried to unravel myself and translate that how I understand it, I am curious to see what is this tit for tat. And off the top, I was feeling tit for tat because this is the justice, but then there's the nightmare due to the justice. So when someone feels justified or like they're enacting justice onto their person, like giving them a taste of their medicine, so to speak, and then you see the pain and the suffering of that dose of medicine that they got, and you can see the pain and suffering, so to speak, of what they've been dealt with as well. And just off the page, I was reading some tit for tat. Let me see. Justice, 3 of fire, 4 of pentacles, 6 of pentacles, Ace of cups, judgment, 5 of cups, 2 of coins. Okay, so you can definitely see, yikes, the death, 13 major arcana, Knight of coins, Ace of coins, 10 of fire, 5 of swords. Yeesh. Like, whoa. It's so intense back here. Yeah. Whew. Let me see here. King of swords, Wheel of fortune, temperance, Hangman, Queen of pentacles, Ace of fire, King of pentacles, 2 of cups. Queen of cups, Ace of swords, 8 of cups, 5 of fire, 3 of pentacles, 2 of swords, 15 major arcana, 2 of fire, 4 of fire, Ace of, a page of pentacles. Okay. Okay, so this for me describes self-preservation as far, because I'm looking for where's the tit for tat, why is it justified, like how did you get there? But overall I was seeing self-preservation energy here. Let me just hold that thought right there, self-preservation. Now over here, 9 of swords, Knight of swords, apprentice, Knight of fire, 6 of swords, 4 of cups, chariot, empress, 8 of swords, the tower, 16 major arcana, 9 of fire, king of cups, magician, 6 of cups, 8 of pentacles, world, knight of cups, queen of swords, 4 of swords, 7 of pentacles, 8 of fire. Okay. This looks like energy of, so here this looks like self-preservation. This one looks more like self-preservation too, but it felt more also like energy management. This one, energy management, coping. So, and then finally responding, but not at first. So it looks like just absorbing the ramifications, absorbing the output, absorbing the feedback, and you know, dealing with it before they're able to respond. Dealing with the feedback, dealing with life at the same time, dealing with self-preservation. So both parties are working to self-preserve. This self-preservation was like having needs that needed to be met and not having them met, and going out of their way to express that to their partner multiple times until they had to take matters into their own hands. So, to have their needs met and to survive, that's only something that I can interpret and consolidate is saying. Ethically, I don't have that data. That's why I said hold that thought. So, like, for example, the Justice, the Three of Fire, and the Four of Pentacles. So imagine needing, wanting, waiting, and not getting it, and being starved out of it, whatever it is. You know? So that's the way the storyline comes to the forefront. And Six of Pentacles, Ace of Cup, Judgment. So then they have to, because the Six of Pentacles is like charity, so they have to find a way to get their needs met, and it's charity. They're going to charity. So self-preservation, how? So if you're in a relationship, if you're locked in a commitment, but you're being starved out of what you need to the point that you gotta go to charity, that's self-preservation. Because if you're in a commitment, meaning you're supposed to have all your needs met right here, and you're getting starved out of it to the point that you have to go to charity, and this person is sad about that, remorseful about that, but finally through charity they were able to get everything that they needed. And then after getting what they need from charity, it's this opportunity to reconcile in their connection. Like, you know, it's like somebody going outside of their connection to get basic needs met, and then after they went out of their way, basically humiliating themselves. Because if you're in a if you're in a commitment and you got to go outside of your commitment to have your needs met, and then after they have their needs met, however they had to go out of their way to get that, then their partner comes back with maybe, you know, I'm sorry, let's reconcile, and there's sadness, and there's some remorse, and there's some regret, there's some hesitation also. Like, I don't know, should I keep going to charity, or should I get back into this connection? Should I trust this person? Will I find myself in that same situation, having to go back to charity after, you know, and dot dot dot. So then we get the death. The death card is coming up. So again, that's where you get ego death. In this sense, in that context, do you see ego death? Someone is begging, somebody is having to go to charity, somebody is being left out, having to do without, waiting for their person to come tend for them. They're never come around. So they're going through charity, they're going through hell, they're getting drugged through hell basically, just to have basic needs met. And then the person comes around when they finally dig themselves from the mud back up to resemble a human life form again. And there's the remorse, and there's the sorry, and there's the reconciliation opportunity. And it's like, do I just swallow all of that pain and suffering? Do I even mention it? Do I describe it? Is my partner even obligated to meet me there, to meet those needs? Like, that's when it goes back to, what type of commitment did you have? What type of understanding did you have? When you go to the courts and you get this established and you have that type of prearranged expectations, even if you don't get your connection documented formally in the courts or however, um, verbally, do you have a mutual understanding? This is what I need. This is how I need it. Can you do that? Okay, you can do this, but you can't do that. Okay, well, will you be okay then if I XYZ because this? And, that's when you make that understanding. Okay, well, I can do Z, but I can't do the X, and it's okay if you go do the Y. And, that understanding, has that been made? Has that arrangement been made? So the ego death, for an example, would be coming to this, oh, I had to go to charity. Oh, I've been drugged through hell. Oh, I had to pull myself up by my bootstraps. Oh, I finally brush off and I can resemble humanity again. Oh, now my partner is coming around. And there's like resentment. But do they deserve that resentment? Do they deserve those attacks? Do they deserve that unspoken expectation? Are they even aware? Are they even capable to, you know what I mean, etc., etc.? Have the arrangements? Have you helped them so they can help you? So you can help them so they can help you. You know what I mean? So you can help yourselves. Has that been established? So there's the death right here, the 13 major arcana, which describes that type of metamorphosing process, that, that rebirth after a death, that new beginning after an end, type energy. So, and we have the Knight of Pentacles, the Ace of Cups, the Ten of Fire, the Five of Swords, and the King of Swords, Wheel of Fortune, and the Temperance. So it looks like as they reconcile and as they move forward, and they're doing better than before. So what we're seeing is that there's when they do come back, there is evidence that their connection and they themselves have become more evolved because they're moving forward in a higher vibrational capacity with the Knight of Swords and the Ace of Pentacles. But you can see the challenge comes back up again. And so a person of concern is back at their breaking point. And it looks like, due to the desperation or the dire aspect of the situation, and it feels just like in context, especially because, oh, it's happening again. So there could be an infused layer of frustration, like, oh my god, this is happening again. This is happening again type energy. So there's also more aggression energetically looking at this. There's potentially a lot more aggression and a lot more intensity in the response to, oh my god, this is happening again, help. Or I don't know how they throw up their SOSs. There's a lot of different ways somebody could throw up an SOS to trying to let their person know or trying to get their attention. That's the subjective part of a general reading that you would get. So you see an ante up of the intensity in the dynamic energetically of the card combination. You got the King of Swords and the Five of Swords, and then you got this major arcana, the Wheel of Fortune. So it's almost as if, too, at this time, especially with the evolved, um, the evolved, more mature and refined couples that have come back together. There is also a cushion between when calamity is about to hit, or a cushion between, oh, it's coming again. And there's like a warning, there's like a premonition, there's a cushion, there's, what do you say, grace? There's a grace period, like, oh, it's coming again. You know, can I count on you? Can we implement our plan? If there was a plan, it's coming again. So there's like a cushion of grace of trying to get their person attention before the feces actually hit the oscillating device. And when it hits, it's a major arcana. Like when it hit before, it was a minor arcana, smaller. Now it's hitting with major arcanas. So it looks like a big whammy. It looks like a big whammy. There's also major arcanas to come help foil, create a buffer, and to give the grace. Remember, before it was charity. So that's more on a human level. That's more on our karmic pattern, where we're our own free will type actions and good Samaritans, for an example, versus the universe stepping in now to foil and to buffer the intensity of this emergency or this despair. So we have major arcanas. The major arcana creating the despair, creating the a lot of words came to mind. Creating the chaos, creating this spin cycle. There's major arcana that steps in with the 14th major arcana, the temperance, aka the alchemist is what I like to call it, to assist, create this buffer, create this charitable moment to try to blend, these energies together. And the hangman, the grace, the period, the cocoon, going into this metamorphosis to come back out, to survive that situation, and then come back out sitting pretty at the Queen of Pentacles now. Like we seen again, they pulled themselves up by their bootstraps with the help of the good Lord, you know. And now sitting pretty, Queen of Pentacles, Ace of Fire, ready to meet challenges in the world, to face challenges in the world, and sitting better than they were before. And they come with the Two of Cups, Queen of Cups, Ace of Swords, Eight of Cups. So it looks like their love is there, their lover is there, just like la 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 la, business as usual, not knowing, almost looking like in this context, not even knowing that your person just went through hell. Because it's almost like it was a silent suffering. It was a silent SOS, almost like, if you don't know me by now, you ain't ever gonna know me. Ooh. Just suffering in silence. Like, I tried to tell you, I tried to get your attention, but and at this point now, there's an emotional disconnect, and walking away from that connection, there's a block. So it's almost as if this person just went ahead and was like, you know what? I'm coming to realize that I am alone in this connection. I am dealing with a ghost, a phantom, somebody who just doesn't even see me, can't feel me, I'm alone. I might as well just go ahead and disconnect, walk out, block that person altogether, block their energy, block their access, block them, block this, block that. Almost like block, F this, F that, block this, block that, block you, and put all types of obstacles in the road for them not to even be able to come back. Or if you come back, you're gonna have to stumble over this, you're gonna have to dodge that, you go ahead, duck this, you duck that, you go through this, go through that. If you're really trying to get me, you need to bump your head a couple times, because are you even a real person? And then it's looking like this change up of energy where their person is at a loss. Like, where did my person go? Am I in this connection alone? So, remember when I was looking for the tit for tat? Where does the tit for tat come from? Oh my gosh, how could that be tit for tat? Oh, where did my person go? Oh, am I in this connection alone? The tit for tat, are you in the connection alone? Where did your person go? Now you know what it feels like. So no wonder it was like, it felt like off the very top, like it felt like a long overdue taste of their own medicine. The next card combination in sequence is the Devil, 2 of Fire, the 4 of Fire, and the Page of Cups. So it almost looks like this progression progressed really quickly, because it was like this person was like, oh hell yeah, my person, I need them, and I need you, and where the hell do you think you're going? You know, but that's what's being expressed, like, but a lot more is described in the 15th major arcana, aka the Devil card. Has a symbolic reference to Saturn. Saturn energy is a planet that governs rules, regulations, guidelines, expectations, you know, putting in the work. And a lot more. And so when, you know that saying that rules are made to be broken, when there are established boundaries and established guidelines and expectations, with that then naturally also comes broken rules, broken and violated, broken rules, established violations, you know, basically what's infield and what's foul, like what's out of bounds, that becomes more pronounced, that becomes more established. And then with those established guidelines, there comes toxicity, defined toxicity. So even without those defined lines of knowing within the rules and the regulations of established understanding, mutual understanding, there's still the toxicities. There's still the existence of toxicities, violations, out of bounds. And then with those understandings come then addictions. You know, what one realizes that they really are at a loss without a need in their life, and without understanding, without the logic of knowing the intricacies of such dynamics, then we, especially in our less evolved timelines, we can go about it in a in a way that's not beneficial, you know, in a toxic way, an abusive way, um, self-damaging, or dot dot dot. But anyway, so then you have this intense, obsessive, um, possessive, and toxic type energy. Now, the two of a fire, you'll see here in the visual, two people walking together. In the traditional tarot, it's usually illustrated with just one person looking at a horizon. I call it their horizon. They're looking at their landscape and they're figuring out, you know, reprioritizing, restructuring, making amendments, confirming certain things, etc. And they are also in the traditional, um, older illustration, the two of fire shows the current turning their back on something, you know, turning their back on their past, so to speak, or yeah, turning their back on what's immediately in the forefront of them, to look at the broad perspective, to look at their terrain, to look at what's in their world going on, what's, you know, it's kind of like blocking out what's in the immediate forefront and looking at the big picture all together to make a more practical decision on which, you know, which way to go and what to do next. This version, in this illustration, you see two people together turning their back on their immediate horizon. I mean, their immediate environment, right? You can see the buildings, you could see the landscape behind them, and they're looking ahead together at what's in front of them. And you could see she's armed, and she's ready, and he's also armed with his hands on his strap, on his shoulder strap. They're ready to meet their challenges together. So, as the reader, this deck says that they're meeting their challenges together and they're looking ahead. And the other illustration, it might suggest, it suggests the same thing. Context is everything in the interpretation, but it also could suggest one person single-mindedly turning around and making their adjustments to figure out what's best for them. Nonetheless, I was going to say two, because when I see twos, for me that also signifies a person creating and establishing balance within themselves so that they can be more effective balancing with others. But it still could go either way. Twos, like the Two of Cups, could be a couple coming together to balance within themselves, within their unit, within their love capacity. Anyhow, nonetheless, though, in this reading, we get the two, but then we also get to the four. So this is mutual balance within their relationship. So it's almost like they go through that, then they come together. So they did give each other a dose of medicine, some tit for tat, and they both came to the realization that they wanted the connection, that they need each other, and that they, you know, they have the life lessons in their connection. They need to be better listeners. They need to be better observers of their person's needs, and, you know, work on that, especially as it pertains to the betrayal and the heart-shattering disappointment. Whether or not that betrayal is justified, and whether or not the sense of betrayal is on an egotistical, selfish capacity. If there's any modifications they might mutually want to make, like, hey, you know, you going out there and charity or you fighting the world all by yourself while I'm just sitting here letting you deal with these demons alone. How can we fight them together? Is there something that I can do? And maybe initially these were undefined parameters in their relationship. Maybe even they themselves didn't know how to ask for help. Maybe back then they weren't even in a position to know how to contribute to their relationship, to be there for their person, or to let someone help, or to be that intimate, or to trust anybody to come that close. There's so many variables that could be possible. Back here, where the original offense took place, and that Seven of Swords, was the person sneaking out and stringing along and being manipulative to truly be hurtful, or to be a scumbag? Or, and it's all subjective, because even when I say or and try to make an excuse, some people could say absolutely no, there's no excuses for that at all, right? It's like, or were they trying not to hurt their person's feelings? Were they trying to? So anyway, regardless, energetically, with the Seven of Swords being there in that context, it's out of bounds. But then I can't really say that because, anyhow, hey, sorry. I want to check myself when I'm talking, saying stuff, and that might be contrary to what I seen in the cards. And I think I was about to say stuff that was contrary to what I seen in the cards. So when I'm trying to talk about those Seven of Swords were nefarious and blah 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 blah. But I never like to downplay the Seven of Swords, and I'll just leave it at that. And all right, so I was able to find where the tit for tat, why there was tit for tat. So in fifth house reading, how would that translate? On the world stage, how would that translate? I would say that it translates, yes, on the dating level, couples that were dating, couples that are kind of out there testing the waters, are, it shows, I feel like it just kind of shows a more intricate, involved aspect of the moving parts that will eventually lead to couples finding themselves with the love of their life. Someone that they're ready to meet this new chapter in life with together. Some who are ready to move their connection to higher levels of commitment. Some who find themselves moving apart due to their own reasons. So I'm taking a look at this right here. Now, this is nightmares of the soul, sleepless nights, and burning the candle at both ends of the stick type energy. Um, Very depressed. Sometimes it's self-induced torment, having expectations of oneself and really grueling and criticizing oneself about how things could have went and how things should have gone, and just really going in on some spilt milk type energy. It happened, you can't change it, but they're ruminating over it again and again in their mind. They're stuck in their head all night and all day. um, and I just feel like they do that to prepare for the new chapter, to if this ever comes back, if I ever have this opportunity again, I'm gonna go about this different. And, it could also be like, in how many times have you said that, and how many times did we think we were going to do it, and it still hasn't happened yet? That type of ruminating, going over and over, like just the pain, the tears, the crying. And this is the stage before you even get to the Ten of Swords, which is even more exaggerated and intensified than even the Nine. But at that point in the 10, it's just a done deal, but it's still going over it again and again and again. It's like when you pull out the shockers and the doctor is just trying to shock their patient back, and the patient is gone. Sometimes it's, you get a doctor that's so passionate, and it doesn't even have to be a doctor. We're just saying that because that's something that we all seen have, happen, if, even in a movie, that just keeps shocking and shocking to the point where they're realizing they're abusing the a corpse now. The person is long gone. That's what you see in the Ten of Swords. Um, yeah, wow. The swords have a progression like that. But, the Ten of Swords is a reality that everyone at some point goes through before they come to the Ace of Swords, where they finally have that clarity and there's a new, refreshing. Anyhow, Nine of Swords. Then we have the Knight of Swords. And then we have the Apprentice, aka the Fool card. So that, in a sense, says what I just said. But it also shows the progression of relief, of letting go, the relief, and the letting go, the relief and release. Relief and release. I think my F's, like Frank, sometimes sounds like an S, like Sierra. But Nine of Swords, Knight of Swords, and the Fool, the Apprentice, it shows the progression of releasing and letting that go. And this is a major arcana that shows that everything that I was saying about coming to the realization, learning the lessons needed to learn, and ready to embark on their new chapter, and finally able to make peace with the past and leave the past in the past, and ready to take everything that needed to be taken with them on their new journey. They're ready to meet head on any challenge. They're eager for it, because anything at this point is better than being stuck in this type of energy. That's what that card suggests, a new beginning. And the nice thing about it is that that could be a connection, mutually coming to terms with letting the past go, taking the lessons with them, and moving forward together, more healed, more evolved, more mature, and ready to meet life together in the new chapter. And also, with everything that has been stated, there's a sense of relief, like, I have my person, our relationship is better and stronger than it was, I'm better and stronger than than I was. Together we're better and stronger. My person is better and stronger. It's just it's very dynamic in a new beginning. But even if it's within oneself, coming to this um, realization to meet the world head on after experiencing such things like, you know, I can do bad all by myself, and I didn't even know I had it in me, but wow, and almost like to themselves, like, did you see how God stepped in and interceded on my behalf? Did you see how the world and the universe conspired to shake, you know, the foundations of the earth for me, type energy, ready to meet the world. Like, wow. And the Knight of Fire is, restating this sentiment, and it pulls it back down to a minor arcana, where we talk about major arcanas are the culmination of actions that we take in our day-to-days based on our free will, brought back down to the minor arcanas within the free will. So we see the forward progression and momentum, and we see the current moving out of toxicity into better, and we see the peace in the Four of Cups within, and the fact that it's cups emotionally and spiritually, um, for themselves, and also for them to be able to work with others. In the Four of Cups, traditionally, I also see a cup, you know, um, coming toward the current or just appearing in their midst, and it's right in front of them, but they're not looking at it. It's right in front of them, but they could miss it. It could be a missed opportunity because they're so focused on whatever they're focused on, and they're kind of numb, emotionally, and I call it on an autopilot. Whenever I see Four of Cups, like in my own personal readings, I'm on a day-to-day autopilot type routine, and it when I see the Four of Cups, it's like, oh, hey, look out, because something is coming, and I don't want to miss it. So prepare for that. So we have another major arcana representing forward movement. Then we have an Empress making taking the stage here. And then we have the Eight of Swords here. And then we have the Tower, the 16 major arcana, the Nine of Fire, the King of Cups, the Magician, Six of Cups, Eight of Pentacles, the World, Knight of Cups, Queen of Swords, Four of Swords, Seven of Pentacles, Eight of Fire. So that there, I feel like, can describe a couple different storylines. Either we have our couple moving on together, or we have our person of interest moving forward alone as a bachelor, bachelorette. It takes me back to the stage where we had a person of interest standing at the Two of Swords, like, where did my person go? Oh my God, am I in this relationship alone? And it picks up from there, for those storylines that might resonate, and it describes them, and it shifts the perspective to their person, showing that they've moved on, and showing the devastation and the realization that, oh my God, I'm blocked. Oh my God, my person is leaving me. Oh my God. No, it's not funny at all. Whew. What was that? A nervous laugh? Comedy relief? Because the energy in these card combinations are very sad. Like, if I was just to hold these cards, I might just start crying. Yeah, they find themselves, this Empress finds her connection represented in the Eight of Swords, her soulmate, her soul tie, broken, devastated, she's blocked, and her lover is long gone, or, I don't know, like, she doesn't know where he is, or does she know? Can she feel his energy just beyond the walls that he's built up to protect himself, to prevent her energy from reaching him? Or, what is going on there? She's protecting himself from the backlash, from the explosive dynamic of, you know, when she finds out he's gone, he's trying to take some time to himself. Does he miss her? Does he miss her relationship? But one thing that he finds himself, and it's energy specific, not gender specific, but he finds himself finally in alignment, you know, finally meeting up with his divine timing, and finally, you know, being able to embrace his capacity to the fullest extent, you know, as had been described in either case when he was with his person moving on or without. And the Six of Cups and the Eight of Pentacles, he's even able to go back and retrieve some things that he lost and be able to revamp some things and, you know, start to work and, you know, be more abundant, to make money, and move on into his new chapter, healed, better, stronger than before. And there's a queen. So is it the same queen or is it a different queen? She's chilling. It looks like it could be his queen. So depending on the nature of their connection, depending on the nature of their vows, depending on the nature of their heart, and where they want to be, as had been described in this reading, he goes back to his woman, finds her more cool, chill, collected, meditating, praying, armed, strapped, still standing on ready to meet whatever challenge. It seemed like he finds her in her element finally, more peaceful, more logically stable, grounded, sound. He comes toward her, Mr. Loverboy, with his Knight of Cups energy. And the Seven of Pentacles is like, oh, it's you again type energy, or, oh, okay, so you finally decided to come back type energy, or, are you still mad at me? Are you calm? Are you cool? Is you cool? And then the communication and the energy blocks dissolving with this back and forth Eight of Fire type energy, clearing the air. And that's the cliffhanger that I'm left on. Hey, can you believe that? Oh my goodness, I was just trying to shuffle and I couldn't shuffle, man. And then the spread developed. That's why I like to show the cards so you can see this. Because can you imagine sometimes I just like be having the camera on me, for an example, and all this is happening and you're like, no, I'm even like, man, on the playback, man, these people are gonna be thinking I'm just making this stuff up, man. It's crazy. It happened just like that. I wasn't even trying to read that because that just felt like, I was like, oh. But that's why I'd be grateful to read the tarot. I love to read the tarot and I feel it necessary to be able to read it every once in a while and see what's going on, see what the energy says, see what the lessons have to teach us, to teach me first and foremost. And then I was thinking, man, y'all, I'm about to read this, right? Because the spread was just like, there it is. And I was like, y'all, I'm about to read this. But then I felt like, then I'm going to pick these cards back up and I'm going to reshuffle and I'm going to get, I'm going to reshuffle, y'all, and we're going to, I'm going to be able to do my spread the way I do my spread. But every once in a while, Spirit comes in and it's like, no, this is your spread. Now read that. And that's what I got, y'all. Because as you can see, all that time, I don't have time to pick that up and reshuffle that. Sure, I would love to, but then, will I have enough energy to make it to the 6th house? Man. I was even thinking, man, I might not even make it to the 6th house. And this one, I might have to take a break and come back. I at least want to make it to the 6th house because that's halfway. And then when I come back, I just have 6 more to do. But let's see here now. Thank you, dear Holy Spirit, for that message. I appreciate that. It was really great. Amazing. Hallelujah. Amen. Okay, so let's see here. Moving into the 6th house now. Thank you, God, for your goodness and your mercy. I try to avoid shuffling my cards like that sometimes because it kind of wears my cards, or not just my card, any cards, it wears them down. But it also speeds up the process sometimes. Thank you, God. Dear Holy Spirit, please put resonance in the deck to give me a message for Virgo, aka the 6th house. Uh, So far, for Virgo, mhm. I come into this reading with Virgo, man, like, whew, I come into this reading with Virgo sitting at the Two of Swords, which is standing in front of a crossroad, not really sure which direction to go, but intuitively they will find a way. And it looks like just as life is what life does, and it starts lifing, you know, that's the movement that started to move this Virgo. Reminding me of the disclaimer, this is a reading that's not going to resonate with everyone. It's not intended to be, it's not intended to resonate with everyone. So if there is dissonance, please don't force it. I'll be back to do another as soon as possible. The energy could go either way. So when I mention Virgo, it could be someone in Virgo's energy or something subjective in the energy for Virgo. So this Virgo was standing at the Two of Swords, not really sure which direction to go. Life began to life and make movements, which by default started to move Virgo. Virgo started tapping into their nature, you know, pulling out their talents, tapping into their nature to move accordingly as life began to life. And looks like through that type of progressive movement, breaking up of pre-established foundational roots, understanding belief systems, what was the ground Virgo was standing on, as they were standing at the Two of Swords, not sure which direction to go. They found themselves tapping into their nature and finding what works, finding their niche, finding balance, finding the alignment in that way. And so they find themselves moving so organically, or they even find themselves moving in Saturn energy. Make me really interested to see what the Saturn energy is for reals. That's what I see in these cards. Oof, Virgo. But one thing that I see for Virgo is, I'm like, wow, Virgo. I always get blown away. Like, is Venus in Virgo right now? Venus is in Virgo right now. Venus just moved into Virgo. And this right here, this card is Venus in Virgo. The Nine of Pentacles is Venus in Virgo energy. And we see the Three of Cups here. So that's very creative, you know, energy, manifestative type energy. Conducive for manifestation, conducive for creativity to bloom. So when I was describing them finding themselves in their element, in their niche, in their capacity to produce, finding themselves honed into their craft, we see some dynamic forward movement into some major arcanas, which has Saturn energy, Capricorn energy, fourth house energy with Cancer. The Cancerians in tarot are symbolically found in the Chariot, which represent that forward movement. And the Devil, the 16th major arcana, is the archetype of Capricorn energy, 10th house energy, energy that governs careers, work. And that's interesting because the 6th house governs work, like work ethic, service. Right. So, so it looks like as Virgo is moving on as described, moving in their journey, found themselves in the Saturn energy, which governs like rules, regulations, um, let's see, expectations and status. Energies as it pertains to status and labels and whew, um, work ethic and governance as it pertains to those type of things. So moving forward into that dynamic, and they find themselves, in a new start, and these energies, which may off the top, I mean, they do feel challenging. They are intensely challenging, could be stressful energy, but it does look like Virgo is moving through that energy very fluidly and finding themselves being catalyzed and inspired through the challenges to be even more creative and have this spark ignite, um, conducive for even more abundance with the Empress and the Ace of Fire, initiating new starts, initiating opportunities to reconcile, and also apologies coming forth as well. Epiphanies being had, a spark of realization. Oh, wow. And a new chapter of love. So we have some Virgos here finding themselves in a new chapter in love. Wow. Somebody that they've fantasized about, dreamed about from their past. It also talks about departing and emotionally disconnecting and walking away from things that are no longer serving their interest, serving their time. It's not in their best interest. Emotionally detaching and walking away. And I feel like that goes back to this Saturn energy where there's the judgments and there's the guidelines, the rules, the regulations, the expectations. With that, there's going to be some reconciliations and there's going to be some connections and harmony and chemistry and that passion ignite, that passion ignition that was described here. But then there's also going to be a breaking apart, a moving away from. There's going to be dissonance and a disconnect. So that's what we have as well. And that's what is being described. Then we come to the Nine of Pentacles. We've seen our Nine of Pentacles make an appearance here. That is Venus in Virgo, love in Virgo. And that's coming out with the Ten of Pentacles. Okay, so that's the highest aspect of love. And outside of a love context, if it deals with something inanimate, like a passion, for an example, yes, the highest capacity for love, abundance, success, power couple. Then we have the Three of Fire and the Devil card. So that 10th, let's see, 13th, no, wait. The Devil card is the 15th major arcana, but where was I saying 10 from? It's interesting, the 10 is over here with the Wheel of Fortune and the Two of Swords. Anyway, what's coming toward Virgo? With the Three of Fire describes the corn standing on the edge of the dock of the bay waiting for their ships to come in. What is being attracted toward Virgo? What is Virgo attracting? So Capricorn energy, career energy, passion and love. Oh, that reminds me of I was describing Nine of Sword energy and Ten of Sword energy just previously in the 5th house. And I forgot to mention too that sometimes, well, it wasn't applicable too much in that context, but Here, I was like, what am I looking for the 10? The 10 of Swords is not here, but I'm reminded in this Devil card that that's passion. Sometimes that just really describes erotic passion, really intense chemistry, addictive chemistry, addictive, seductive, indulgence. This is interesting too that Capricorn and both of these decks are mirroring each other. The Devil card, this intense passion, the 10th house. Wow, so Virgo. You may find yourself tapping into a craft, tapping into an element, and finding your niche there for your career, opportunity for you to make a living. Yeah, wow. You find yourself at a new job. Etc., etc. But let's see what else. Yep. So it continues to read the, this reading continues to move forward in that way. Here we're looking at the Magician and the Hangman, these major arcana coming together, describing our Arcturus finding themselves in alignment, and also in this Hangman energy, which is Neptune, very creative, very dream euphoric type of energy, conducive to be creative, to produce masterpieces, having these dreams and epiphanies, and a lot of energy conducive for your highest good. Then we have the Six of Cups and the Ten of Cups making this appearance. So it does describe being able to tap back into some old past goals, connections, karmic relationships, karmic patterns, something that brings nostalgia and things that you've been hoping and dreaming to tap back into. With the Ten of Cups, meeting that with the Ten of Cups is like, again, some overwhelming creative passion, emotionally fulfilling, spiritually cleansing energy. And as far as the Six of Fire, lately the Six of Fire has been coming into my readings as having one foot in and one foot out of something. And that embodiment being met with the Ten of Fire, for me it describes coming to a breaking point of, spreading oneself out too thin, being wishy-washy, or having one foot in, one foot out, or straddling a fence, straddling a fence, and choosing a side to stand on, coming to the breaking point of that, and choosing a side to stand on. So that energy being met with the Star card and the Two of Cups is not surprising. A wish fulfillment and emotional harmony and balance, and also love. As far as in your love connections, where there had been walls built up, these walls are tumbling down. It didn't even put up a fight. It didn't even make a sound. It was Beyonce. That was challenging how Beyonce says it didn't. What she said? These walls are built, are finally tumbling down. They didn't even put up a fight. They didn't even make. And then she goes real low. And I don't think I can do it. They didn't even make a sound. So I always have to change it. Mm. These walls I built, finally tumbling down. They didn't even put up a fight. They didn't even make a sound. Anyways, yo. 9 of fire. These walls are coming down, but there's a major arcana describing them coming down. That's the Temperance, aka the Alchemist, and it's so beautiful to see a major arcana mitigating these walls coming down. Major arcana, so beautiful as the Temperance. The Temperance is, this is the ninth house, so there's an association with the Temperance with the ninth house, a house that deals with higher learning. It also deals with long distance travel. The long distance travel, especially seeing the Neptune energy that made an appearance with the Magician. Strong Aquarius and Pisces, Hangman. Ooh. So the Aquarian energy is also in our third house, which is Gemini's house. And I'm seeing that energy in the Wheel of Fortune. But let me make sure. Virgo. The Hermit. And the Magician is in the Apprentice. So let's see. The Apprentice comes right before the Magician. I don't want to be moving these cards around too much. As I go to moving them around too much. Anyways, yeah, I'm starting to fizzle out with my energy. It feels like I can keep going, but I'm moving slower. I'm gonna want to do something else. Oh, the Wheel of Fortune has Jupiter in it. That's nice. Yeah, so Temperance. Oh, Jupiter. Okay. So yeah, Temperance has Jupiter energy. And Jupiter is also found in the Wheel of Fortune energy. Wow, so Virgo came in with the Two of Swords around this Jupiter energy, around the Wheel of Fortune, this spin cycle. But Jupiter was there. Wow. Well, really feeling heavy Jupiter. But which is a good fortune, luck type energy. Luck, good fortune. I wish there was another way to describe that, because for those who don't necessarily believe in luck or good fortune, but also with the Hangman, the Neptune, euphoric energy, man, there's a lot of potential here for creativity, abundance, love. Alright, I'll try not to take too long. But let's see what else. So, alright. The walls are coming down. And here's love around these 10 of fire. So some love connections are breaking for other connections to come forward. some love connections are coming to their breaking point. For other connections to come forward, there's also the opportunity for hard blockages in connections to be dissolved and to be nurtured and healed. Wow, so this is a good time. It looks like a good time to come out of the cold with some love, um, some family, some friends, associations you may have been out of touch with in the recent past. Um, those, I feel like that is also those walls coming down with these major arcana and Six of Pentacles being met with the justice. Nice. So Six of Pentacles for me is that charity energy of prayers being answered and assistance being made for the court, even if and when it's out of thin air. So if there's like some legal proceedings, for an example, this would describe some rulings being made in your favor. Beware of a saboteur in your energy as well. Someone coming around that might not have your best intentions, trying to cut you off guard. I do see that your best defense and your best position to take is in your faith. Stand your ground in your faith and rooted traditions, ethics, morals. Don't waver, don't deviate from those. Because I feel like the Seven of Swords and the Three of Cup is really interesting card combination to come together. It almost could also describe in a less threatening way, but more positive way, is collaborating together with a group of like-minded people with certain expertise. They could be your peers, friends, family, any type of associations that you can collaborate with. And it looks like if that is taking place in secret, it would be taking place kind of behind the scenes, with the means to optimize the situation, to improve your situations. You got to come out with the best approach, strategic approach. It looks like this is with the Seven of Swords being there about strategy and methods of approaching a certain dynamic to bring about the best outcome. Then having the Hierophant with the Page of Swords is, I feel like, after collaborating and going through, different alternatives, and it brings me back out of like a personal love reading to look at the sixth house, as that house governs service and health, service, routines, daily habits, the day-to-day, the routines, let's see, in health. So, sometimes I find myself looking into the sixth house to look for like security, even immunity, like immune systems and the health in a health dynamic. But so let's see, I said that to say, and then I like to take things from their houses, from whatever respective house I might be in during the time of the reading. I like to put it on the 11th, in the 11th house, which is the world stage, kind of just like, how would this translate on the world stage? So, for example, which suggests, and this is interesting too, I feel like we might be sitting on a cusp of a lot of transformative, I'm like in layman's terms, but I'm trying to describe some technical terms, so excuse me. I feel very compelled to like go to a tech or a magazine rack and pull out the tech magazines and start flipping through them and see like what is the cutting edge, like what are they doing right now. Because for me, I just feel like something is they're in the works. I've seen it in the third house, that energy in the second house. Man, I find myself really interested, like, because I'm starting to want to do my readings, house 1 through 6, on the first stream, if I can do that, because it requires a lot of energy. But, and then, like, my next stream will be from the 7th house to the 12th house. Man, the messages that be coming out in all of these houses, because so far, this is our 6th house, so this would finish up our reading for this stream. Sometimes I have energy to go all the way from the first house to the 12th house. That is amazing when I can do that. Ooh. Anyway, man, this is awesome, man. They're about to come out with some new stuff, y'all. They about to come out with some new stuff. Anyways, they're behind the scenes. So they're, they're coming up with some new stuff, man. When I say they, I'm talking about on the world stage, them on the world stage, man. They about to come out with some new stuff, man. Some new technology, some new, oh my God, like, what in the world? Oh man. And once they get their plans together, man, they're about to come together with their plans, man. And they about to put that stuff into action. And this looks like it will be behind the scenes when they do, y'all. Look, I wasn't even paying attention for real, but I was just looking all up in the sky and my eyes was all dreamy and stuff. The Ace of Pentacles in this moon energy. It is. They're coming out with something, but it's not gonna be for the public consumption right away, man. It's behind the scenes. Man, God is good, yo. God is good. I'm saying that because for whoever doors were shutting, you know what I'm saying? Doors were shutting, like people were being moved, like kind of forced out of certain situations. And you could just tell, like, and in the reading and the energy, you could see the major arcanas presiding over it. And that's why I like to read the tarot sometimes to see, like, is this a minor arcana type energy moving me around or moving a situation, or is it major arcanas? Because when it's a major arcana, that's out of our hands. I just give it grace because I'm just like, this is this is this is above me, man. This is beyond me, man. This is happening. And for those of us who are seeking God for leading and guidance, we trust in Him. He will close doors that need to be closed and open the doors that need to be open for our best interest. Because, man, they're coming up with something under the scenes. And you know what I mean? It's kind of like when that, which I don't want to like use trigger words to be triggering. When, certain events happen, right? And people are just going to their day to day, and somebody might feel like, ooh, man, I just don't feel like going. I'm gonna call in today. Something's telling me not to go, man. I'm not going. Or you just might feel like, today I feel like taking a left, but I normally take a right. Yeah, I can't even finish my thought, man. It's crazy. Dude, this is getting too intense for me right now. Sensory overload. Sensory overload. Then we have the 13 major arcana coming out with the Ace of Cups. Dude, that's crazy, man. Because, So I think as the powers that be are commencing doing what they're doing behind the scenes, coming up with what they coming up behind the scenes, it oh my god, I can't. I feel like I have a hard time articulating myself. It's gonna cause oh my god. Yo, it's basically looking at in the cards what I just freaking said. When you get that urge, you're just like, you know what? I'm just gonna call in today, cause I ain't feeling it, man. And then you turn on the news and it's just like, duh 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 duh, and you just be like, man, I'm glad I wasn't there, man, cause I almost was there. I promise you, something told me to take a left when I should have took a right. I was right there. That would have been, I would, and then you're just glad. That's the High Priestess and the Six of Swords. The High Priestess and the Six of Swords. And then, oh, you might be like, what does that say? The Six of Swords is moving from a toxic situation into a better situation. And I said that the High Priestess is the intuitive component that's leading the court to make those moves. The High Priestess is what gives light to the moon, to whatever is happening beneath the surface, whatever is happening supposedly in secret and hidden aspects. The High Priestess is able to tell. She has she she has that depth of knowing. She's intuitive like that. And so she's moving accordingly out of toxic situations into better situations, and also finding herself attracting and meeting and being attracted by and attracted to where she really needs to be, right? Because here's the Knight of Pentacles and the Three of Fire. What did I say about the Three of Fire? The Court just standing on the edge of the dock of the bay waiting for their ships to come in. That scripture that say, I look to the hills from which my help cometh. Listen, do you see that? I look to the hills from which my help cometh. And then here we have this. This night right there coming. And when the Lord is moving his people, oh my goodness, look at that, y'all. You see this Queen of Cups and the Ace of Swords? You see that? She is grateful. She's waiting. She knew. What is that scripture? Faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. How far, how is gonna keep on, the storyline keep on going like that? Because then, next, right? Remember that faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Then we're looking at the Magician and the Queen of Fire. The Queen of Fire is ready to go. And you see the Magician, everything is lining up. She's ready to take off. Look at that, she's ready to go, yo. You ain't said nothing but a word. You ain't saying nothing but a word to me. Say less. The Queen of Cups. There we go. Yes. Queen of Fire. Yes. Dang. And then it goes down. Yo, you know what's crazy, y'all? Man, Look at this, man. Ace, yo, firstly, first of all, I'm gonna put this right there, right? Look at this. Five of fire. There's a Ten of Cups, man. Oh my god, it's sick. It's Five of Fire. Ace of Swords. First of all, Five of Fire. Ten of Cups, Ace of Swords. You know what they say, after the 10 comes the ace. The 10 is the highest that you will get to in the cipher before you repeat, and the cipher continues and you get to your ace. You get to your clarity, you have your eureka, you have your ignition, the fire, the big bang, you're ready to go type energy. And the ace of the 5 is here. 5 of fire. And so the 5 of fire symbolizes a blockage, arguing, differences of opinions type energy. Now this author, this illustrator, depicted the fight. Like, can you see in here? Look at them, armed, going off. And look at all of these in the wake of their commencement. And then check out this dynamic here, where we have the Ace of Swords. Now look at his illustration. The dude is ready with the binoculars. He's watching. He knows. He's already come up with the strategy. He's got the Ten of Cups. It's almost like everything that he's been waiting for to come into his red dot view is coming into the red dot zone for him to fire it off. And in context, it was saying, here's the blockage, but the current knows how to get through this blockage. Bullseye. Now, and then the bullseye is successful. They mission accomplished. Now, that can be, you know what I'm saying, in that extreme context, and it is concerning though on the world stage, because I'm not trying to see nothing like that right now, man. That's crazy. Please, please. Oh my God, it's time to pray. It's been time to pray. So, man, it's been time to pray. It's been time to repent. This is me. Oh my God, this is me. Message to self: repent, pray, give thanks. The Most High knows everything that's been happening has been happening for a reason. And I just pray for the outcome, that when everything is said and done, like, Lord, I just pray to be found on the right side of justice, and to be doing what I'm supposed to be doing, and to be able to be found where I'm supposed to be according to the Most High, to the will of the Most High. Anyways, I be trying not to hijack the reading like that. Okay, because to a less intense extent, this right here was describing our current finding themselves just where they need to be, coming into the proper alignment. And when we first came into the reading, the current was standing at the Two of Swords, not really sure which direction to go, but intuitively would find their way to go. And it just, as life started to happen, the Virgos started to find themselves shuffled through the scenes to where they needed to be, and where they were most welcome, where they were most wanted, where they were most needed, where they were most conducive to bring abundance, and were needed. Yes, indeed. they were needed, and they found themselves around their needs. Yeah. So it was describing that process and the confirmations of that, and then also finding themselves at a blockage, um, and knowing how to make it through the blockage. No, having the capacity, the skill set, the um, refinement, the lessons, the logic, the information, the support, the green light, you know, the approvals, whatever needed to for them to have that pass and have the jurisdictions to make it through the blockage and make it to the other side and make it to where they're supposed to be, and to make it to the Ten of Cups, to make it to their success, and to find themselves in the Four of Fire, stable not only within themselves but with others, in their Ace of Pentacles and their new start. And it looks like I'm starting to see like a revisit of previous challenges. So it's like the court finds themselves going through a cipher that they have been through before, but the first time around, or however many times around they went through it, they were meeting closed doors, were meeting blockages. Now this part is for some select few, not everyone, of course. And this time around, finding themselves going through similar situations as karmic patterns do. It simulates similar life lessons, similar experiences, to have an opportunity to pass the test, to learn the lessons, to implement the lessons, to master those lessons, and to show and prove what they have learned. So it looks like there will be an opportunity for some to go through those lessons and to have the refinements to pass, to succeed, and to move forward. And this time around, everything that didn't make sense before, it makes sense now. The stresses, the nightmares, the sleepless nights, the nightmares, the worry, the anxiety, making sense now. A ruling being made in your favor, or the ruling that was made that at first sight did not seem to be in your favor, didn't feel like it was in your favor, but with the big picture now, and with everything that had unfolded, and it's now realized how that ruling did actually come into your favor. The Eight of Swords and the Two of Pentacles, this wavering, this uncertainty and wavering, and dealing with a dynamic that was like a self-imposed imprisonment, but really coming to terms like, do I really need to stay, in this dynamic that I put myself in? Starting to realize, hey, this is a self-imposed imprisonment, or starting to realize within a karmic pattern, for an example, self-sabotage behaviors or defensive mechanisms, whatever. Do I really need to stay in that type of energy, or should I lock in with different energy? This is an opportunity to reconcile, and also to ascend in a higher level, to ascend in a higher level within commitments, even the potential to reconcile with the love interest and move that connection to a higher level of commitment, even marriage in some cases. So with that, coming out of the cold with someone and coming together with this new found realization and epiphanies as had been described, then it makes sense why you would see the Death, 13 major arcana, Scorpio energy, 8th house energy, highly intuitive and spiritual type of energy around the King of Swords, transformative epiphanies and realizations that the Virgo can now stand on as tried and true proofs, having sudden clarity and understanding and epiphanies that are necessary to finally bring abundance and growth and nurture to this pinnacle tree. It's like, in context, we see the court revisiting this pinnacle tree. They had long yearned to get the pinnacles off of this tree, or would have to decide to cut losses and walk away from that. Now having the resources and the aptitude to nurture, but this is the Page of Cups. Page of Cups has the element conducive to nurture this pinnacle tree and to get the abundance, or may decide to conserve their energy and conserve resources and cut losses to be abundant and productive elsewhere. That determination will be made. And we're looking at the Five of Pentacles, our current standing, out in the cold, feeling lonely. For what once felt lonely feels quite abundant now. And it looks like what once looked like begging for penance, begging and craving and desiring, charity and to be seen, to be loved, to be accepted, to be let in, or what have you, suddenly begins to look like a monk, someone that actually has a lot to offer, to one who has the eyes to see. Don't necessarily judge a book by its cover, because you never know when you're entertaining an angel in disguise. And there's a wish fulfillment. This storyline can go on and on and on, as you can see. But I do also have to tie this up and keep going. But hello everybody, I'm in the chat now. Thank you so much for stopping by. I wasn't able to be in the chat with you guys because I only had this streaming device that I was working with. But I thank you so much. I love it to see that there's interactions and that there's support on the video and on the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. Neon, it's good to see you. We have 67, Elijah 87. Hello, thank you for stopping by. Duncan Brooks, Bank 86259. Hey Duncan, collective or freebies? This one's collective. Alright, thanks everybody. Signing off for now. Until next time, peace.